So the philosophy suggests that true strength comes from softness and flexibility. Judge less, listen more. Be open-minded, allow the mystery to unfold, accept whatever comes. The suffering of lives begin with attachment. Pause before reacting. Small shifts in thinking can create big changes in lives. I'm honored to have this opportunity to share the key learnings from the book Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life by Dr. Wayne Dyer. I would also like to express my sincere gratitude to the BEHF team for making this possible. Right. Now, before we start with this, the learning of this book, there are some norms, or you can say words that you need to familiar with, because I'm going to use that frequently during my sharing of this experience. For example, see, this book is purely based on a scripture called Tao Te Ching. It looks like, but it pronounces a Tao Te Ching, right? And it is written by a famous man, La Zhou. We don't know the name, but La Zhou means it's an old man, old master, right? So I'll be using this uh, wordings very frequently, right? So meaning of Tao Te Ching is, it's a book for applying the virtue and living the way it is prescribed, right? So the fundament that the Tao means the fundamental, indescribable way or order of the universe that existed before all else, right? So to start with the review, this book is for readers a life-changing experience because it offers practical wisdom that can bring joy, peace, integrity, and balance to our lives. Now, how Dr. Wayne Dyer, discovered uh, you know, this book. Now, the principle of Tao Te Ching, it has hundreds of books, but the author, he shortlisted some of the books and drilled down to couple of books, and uh, he has personally experimented this with each and every chapter, which I'm going to talk some of the chapters today, which is quite motivating, right? So Dr. Waneda is a renowned motivational speaker. He spent years studying and living according to the teachings of Lazu. Lazu means is an old man. We call you, don't know the name of the person. It's a Chinese ancient text, right? Now, this writings were, written before 500 years, the birth of Jesus, right? Now, this he is regarded as a God-realized being who dictated 81 verses. There are a total of 81 verses that form the Tao Te Ching, a timeless guide to living in harmony with the universe. Now, the book teaches us that we can take small steps and bring incremental transformation to our life. Dr. Dyer immersed himself in these teachings for a year, experimenting with them in his own life, and then wrote this book, Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. The book says 81 verses, we call it, right? 81 chapters, you can say, right? Each is inspired by a verse from Tao Te Ching, which offers profound insights on how to live a balanced, moral, and spiritual aligned life. Now, everything we do and we encounter in life, the book teaches us has a spiritual touch and spiritual essence to it. Dr. Wine was inspired to spend an entire year. He has spent 1 year when he was 65 years of age, reading this book, researching and meditating on large messages, practicing them, ultimately writing down all these insights in the form of this book, what we are, reviewing today, right? The book summary teaches us you are doing nothing, you are just being done. That's one of the motivational word. Now, Lazo teaches us to observe how the nature works. It has a lot of specific mention of nature, apply it into our day-to-day life and integrate it, right? Like you can see natural resources like sun, air, water, earth. fire, they all serve us without any expectation of return. Now, going with the flow rather than striving against it. The book also teaches us simplicity, right? Simplicity being humble, being contentment, letting go of desires, fame, wealth, status. So the philosophy suggests that true strength comes from softness and flexibility. That leading others is most effective when done very gently. So change your thoughts to create a solution to the problem you face in life. Now everything is created by God. Everything that God has created is good. That's the summary of one of the summary of the book, right? Then what is the evil coming? So all the evil is coming due to our ego, due to our high aspirations, right? All the problems are illusions to our mistakes. Your action starts with a thought. The energy that you need to solve a problem remains your thought. So you need to change your thought. That's the essence of it. So one of the ways to check your quality of life is to think end of the day how cheerfully you spend the whole day. That brings us a kind of measurement that how happy you are in your life, right? True spirituality, the book teaches us what is true spirituality. Right? True spirituality is nothing but how much you are cheerful, you are kind to others, love, peace, forgiveness, lovingness. We'll discuss in a more on that, right? So without delay, let's dive into the some of the verses that I have shortlisted to share, right? First one is the first verse is living in mystery, right? Now, living in mystery, this verses teaches us everything works in a divine order. So don't try so hard to make some things work. Simply allow it to happen. Some of your desires are about how you think your world should be. Become an astute observer. Judge less, listen more. That's the summary of this uh, verses. Take time to open your mind to fascinating mystery and uncertainty that we all experience. It teaches us letting it go. Experience the mystery, which automatically unfold things for us. So letting it happen is one of the key takeaways from these verses. Right? So the author tells us, uh, one of the way doing this is paradoxical thinking, which is nothing but desiring. Specifically, Mr. Desiring means what we want, wanting, and desireless, which means allowing it to happen. Desiring is physical expression of creating conditions that allow to be receptive. And desireless means trusting, prompting, allowing the process to take its own course. So desireless is something the author advises us to practice. Now, let me give one of the example here. We there is some concept called helicopter parenting, right? Especially which is focusing on we give so much emphasis to our kids. We monitor each and every situation, each and every steps of them, which make them totally dependent on us as a parent, right? We don't let it happen the way they grow, the way they should be growing, right? So especially for us as a parent, we should let kids grow. Unless they ask, don't ask. Don't give them micro advices. Do this, don't do this. We are feeding unnecessary habits into their minds, allowing them to do whatever they need. Fail them, no problem. Failing first is good enough, so that they learn the lessons of life and correct themselves and do the things more maturely. Right? That's how we should be. So that's called, we should avoid helicopter parenting. Right? So conclusion, what is the conclusion? Be open-minded, allow the mystery to unfold, accept whatever comes, experience the mystery of life without labeling, explaining or defending. Right? We'll go to the second verse. Okay. Living the paradoxical unity, the second verse, right? So nurture things without possessing them, Do your work, don't expect rewards or don't expect always positive result for you, right? Do your part, do your job without any expectations, right? That is what we are learning from the meditation, from the spiritual journey that we are doing it together here, right? Find oneness in duality, embrace the mystery, let go of the attachment, cultivate inner peace. This is the summary of this verse, right? We should behave like a kind of sage. The sage works, but not for rewards. He competes, not for results. When the work is done, it's forgotten. Simple. This is a way of acting without attachment to the outcome, which paradoxically make the action more sustainable and meaningful. Okay, I want to give like a society, right? In a society, we tend to, judge a person by the look, by the, by the status. So that is something paradoxical. We tend to think, okay, he'll be like this. He has low status. That is something we should avoid it, right? We should not. We judge a person by the age, for example. A person having below age of us can have more intellectual, more spirituality than what we think, more intelligent than what we think, right? The third example will be we judge a student in a school by the grade or marks. Now, our educational system is designed in such a way you have to go in that way on, right? So we label everybody as a student, how much marks he got, what is the percentage, how much grade we got, and that's how we decide he's a good boy or he's a bad boy, or he's a good student or bad student. No, the freedom to allow them to make it happen in the way they have the expertise. That's what we should try to give the emphasis on. So conclusion, we should live life freely, peacefully, and playfully. Do our duty without any execution, right? Living with contentment. Taoism, which is based on this book is based on that principles or philosophy, advises us rearranging your priorities to ensure contentment. Contentment, be satisfied, be happy, right? Hunger and greedy for too much things will invite external factors to have control over us. No, hunger for more power, more status, more name and fame, more wealth, right? It will ultimately invite discontentment. Now, Tao teaches us practice gratitude to a contented life. Be gratitude, be grateful to what you get every day, whoever comes in your life to help you, right? Now, serving others, give back to society. It is a sense of gratitude which helps to further transform your life. Now, desire produce anxiety, right? And there is no way to happiness. Rather, happiness is the way. You have to cultivate happiness in whatever form the life awards you, right? Encourage your family and friends to empty their minds of thoughts about status and acquisition and think of serving others. Contribute to the health and state of all. Right? Stop pushing yourself. Your life is controlled by something bigger. As a person, we do have a divine plan for all of us. Accept it. Give your best and leave it everything to the divine. Right? Now, the classic example, if you see contentment, as a society, when we stay together, we try to compete each other. We try to think and, be jealous each other. How big, for example, a neighbor has a car. Why I don't have? I will buy also that car. We try to compare that. He has a big TV, the neighbor is a big TV. I don't have a small TV. Your wife will persist or your husband will, force you to buy that equivalent size of TV. So which is nothing but you are discontent in your life and trying to compare with others, right? Which is not a good way of, you know, uh, getting contentment. Now, for the benefit of others, and since we have limited time, I tried to combine some of the verses. Like for here, if you see living infinitely and living without attachment, both are similar, right? Uh, so that is a summary: living in the present, embrace change, practice detachment, cultivate selflessness, find peace in simplicity, right? So living infinitely means accepting and uh, flowing with the natural ever-changing cycles of life, like water, by practicing humility, detachment, selflessness. It involves letting go of our desires, attachments, and need for control, allowing one to find our inner peace, right? Allowing us to find our inner peace and fulfillment by aligning with the fundamental infinite nature of the Tao, right? So by surrendering the way of nature, one can become more flexible, right, and resilient, achieving a state of being that is eternal in the spirit. So if you just accept whatever comes in your way and gives your best without bringing turmoil to your mind, you will definitely find a solution. Now, how do we practice infinitely? Embrace change. Whatever change comes, accept it, right? Practice detachment, right? Detach from desire, detach from the need of status. By letting it go, the ego, you can become fulfilled, So that's called detachment. Now cultivate selflessness, right? You don't need to be selfish because, I need this. The highest good is achieved by giving it to others. So I mean, understand or realize the pleasure of giving something to others. Find peace in simplicity. You should be very simple. Simple life is always great. Be present in the moment, which is mindfulness. Focus on what you can control, which is your ability to find inner peace. Right? Now, living without detachment, don't be attached to things. Living without detachment, according to Dr. Van Dyer, means detaching them from the outcome of your actions by finding motivation in the love of the activity that you do itself rather than external reward like money or fame. It involves having an open mind that is open to everything, be attached to nothing. Now, in relationships, it means loving someone freely and without making your happiness dependent on them, allowing them the freedom to be themselves, right? Respect everybody. Now, live without detachment by being generous as well, right? So, what are the key principles of detachment? Now, find the joy in whatever you do in the process, right? Shift your definition of success. Success doesn't mean you are always going to win, right? Success also means how amicably you solve the problem, how amicably deal with the problems that you face in life. That is also a success because you have been able to successfully deal with the problem, right? Uh, Serve the link between happiness and external factors, right? Again, non-attachment in relationship, don't expect everything, always from the relationship, right? For example, I want to give an example, right? For example, you have a long weekend. For example, you have we tend to set our mind, without doing anything. Let me start the holiday from today, and we set our mind accordingly, and we don't do anything from now because we are expecting a long weekend. Now, living within your own nature, verse number 38. Right? So it teaches us be with our own essential nature by rejecting artificial principles. Be simple and humble. Don't be afraid of anything. Now the great master followed its own nature. If you want to transform your life, you have to follow your own nature. Now what is your own nature? Like you have to be essentially be natural in whatever way that you are built up. Don't copycat things from others. So don't be afraid of anything. This is the summary of this principle, and if become curious what you're afraid of, try to contemplate this fear. Why I am feared? The fear will go away automatically. Like perhaps when we all started our journey, we were very fearful. I myself was very fearful talking in front of others, but slowly we have developed. We have faced the fears, and it is slowly we have come out of fear, and we are better than before. Now again, I have clubbed two more verses, like living by bending and living with flexibility. Right now, the author gives a very good example here. If you are very hard in life, if strictness in life is the symbol of death. right? That's why I've written, a man is born gentle, like a baby, gentle, flexible, right? And gentle and weak, and at his death, he is hard and stiff. So if you see the natural, lifetime of a person, if his death means he is hard, the body becomes stiff, right? So it becomes stiff and hard in life. It is not that's something you can carry with to progress in life. Similarly, if you see the trunk of a tree, it becomes very stiff and hard once it's near to death, right? So Laju teaches us how solid and natural things are soft, gentle, and even weak. So by bending yourself in a situation which you face in life, it doesn't mean that you are losing life. If we have the mindset that is that strength is hard, inflexible, rigid, unyielding, then time for us to change that perception. Be soft and flexible. That's what it stands. In case of dispute between two human beings, we tend to respond in the same force that one side initiates, which is the main cause of escalating the dispute. So by being bending, analyze the situation, you can handle the things. Okay. So the author says, be strong by bending. Listen more. Allow other viewpoints to be, challenged. Sorry, allow your viewpoints to be challenged and bend when necessary. Knowing that you are actually choosing your strength. So by being bending, you are not weak. The more you think in a rigid way, the more you are liable to break. Okay. Now, living with bending and flexibility, you should be flexible. That is what the hard and stiff will be broken, the soft and supple will prevail. Okay. Now again, very similar verses I have joined. Live like water, living softly and living calmly. Right. Now, there is a very good mention of, a major mention of the water. Right. Nothing is softer than water, yet it surpasses the hard surface. So a master remains serene in midst of sorrow. Evil cannot enter his heart. Water comes in many forms: sea, rain, fog, mist, snow, rivers, streams. So there is spiritual strength in all forms of water. So be grateful to water and learn the teachings from this natural resource. That is what the author is trying to say. I mean, water is just serving us, and it is very soft. It does its own duty. It's a natural form of resource, and serve us selflessly. So be gentle and adapt to a soft approach, meaning to be loving and firm in your response. Be loving and be firm in your response. Right? Water finds its own way. Like gentle, a pure soul will find its own way. Never mind whatever barricades we install. So be in harmony with nature. You need to be flexible, stay flexible, willing to lower yourself in times of need, and appear weak and evil will not be able to enter your heart. So if you become flexible like water, soft like water, evil will not be able to enter your heart. So there is nothing softer than water, yet nothing can surpass it for overcoming the heart. So the conclusion is that with these three chapters, go with the flow of life, accept challenges, soften your approach by being more tolerant, interfere less, be open to ideas, do meditation every day, picture yourself having the quality of water by allowing yourself to be soft, weak, yielding, and you will see the life will change. That's how the author says. After reading this chapter, meditate on water, on the qualities of water, and it will transform your life slowly, slowly. Now, living without accumulating, right? Uh, the suffering of lives begin with attachment, and a life attachment to a life and accumulate more than what you need. You have come to the world with nothing. So that author says no thing. Nothing means no thing, and you will depart the world with nothing means no thing. So letting go and allow it to happen naturally. So any excessive attachment, any attachment will bring in evil to your life. The more you give it to others, the greater abundance you'll have in life. We always expect more, more. It's like dil mange more, right? More and more money, more friends, more appreciation, more status, and the list never ends. So live life with contentment instead of saying, I need more. Always say, I need less. I'm happy. I'm happy with what I have. Now, what is the danger of excess? Overaccumulation creates burdens, worry, vulnerability, right? You should also be ready for the consequences if you accumulate too much wealth, right? So the author tells us 80-20 principles actually. He has given a 80-20 principles. For example, we have a tendency to accumulate more clothings. Like if you go and count, you will have like hundreds of pieces of clothing. But are we really using up those clothing in our life? No. So the author tells us keep whatever you need. Whatever you don't need, you give it to others so that a person and the other world who cannot afford, they can reuse it. So that's called 80-20 principle. So if you really see, you'll be using 20% of what you have and you are just keeping it just because of, our status, our accumulating more than what we want, right? So the conclusion is that, without, don't accumulate too much, lead a balanced and peaceful life. We should bring in happiness without more accumulation of status, wealth, and all. So again, I want to conclude. I know I have time check. I have another 2 minutes. Conclusion. Again, you can see, the I've tried to give it in a more one-pager key takeaways. The more spiritual you are, you can see a tree, right hand side here. You be creative, honest, motivated, confidence, forgiving, peaceful. This all bring in positive energy. So change your thoughts to bring in all this value. And anything that you complain, always complaining, sadness, lazy, selfish, hate, regret, ego, greed, anger, this will bring discontent to your life. Right. So meditation will definitely helps us bringing in positive energy for us. So what is the key takeaways, right? Key principles will live harmony with life, right? Uh, Embrace simplicity, less is more, right? Practice to have whatever you need, just keep it, you know, that will bring in happiness. Simple life is good. So we should live like life in harmony with natural order of the universe, known as Tao. TAO is called Tao. It emphasizes principles like simplicity, patience, compassion, encourages accepting the natural flow of life rather than resisting it. Allow it to happen. We have a divine plan for everybody. Allow it to happen. The core principles of this key takeaway books, is power of emptiness, contentment, suggesting that true fulfillment comes from letting go of desires and living in the present moment. How do we bring practically, how can we be practically transform our life? The simple three four steps which I have summarized. Pause before reacting. You don't need to react everything whatever comes to your head, situations in life. Practice mindfulness. We always do. We are doing it. We are learning this from this session. All right. Focus on what you can control. Right. Don't accumulate too much. Accept change as natural. Accepting change and trying to evaluate in a by being bending to the situation, by being soft, by being humble, it will give you a happy solution to life, a divine spiritual solution to life. Okay. Now, what is the closing thought? Small shifts in thinking can create big changes in life. So, a baby steps, a small steps, which you can take to bring in changes in your life. So, that's all from me. Hope the session was good, and I am now open to Q&A. Please.
Good morning. Good morning. And thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. So, I have one question on this. When there is no religion, before, like long ago, this is 5,000 years back, I think. this is coming up, this Taoism. But how did the evolution came up, like religions, and why the people have divided, into different communities, like Christianity and all those things? Can you help me out to understand this process?
Yeah, yeah. So I'll try to answer. I cannot go back to how it happened, but what I learned from this book and what I can translate from this book, everybody has a preference to, lead a life the way they want. So all these
Mm-hmm.
religions, to my understanding, came as a part of, I want to live in a way I can, right? So that is what the book teaches us. Again, don't want to go to the religion and how people take into different forms of religions, which I'm not capable of telling. But as a common sense, what the book teaches us, it tells us that, uh, you have to adapt whatever comes in your life, and whatever, and how beautifully you can handle the situation, how beautifully you can transform your life with the, with the things what you have, is the beauty of life, right? We are not here
Mm-hmm.
to motivate others forcefully. Rather, you do things so that others are motivated as per your, value or your form of living, right? That is what the book teaches us, right? Yes. To your point, yes, there are various forms, and whatever we like is like different paths to one destination. But if we go back and whatever we have learned so far from Pradeep ji, or as a group here, everything has one objective, and we should focus on what we like without disturbing, without impacting, without interfering in any other things. That's what I feel. I think,
Wonderful.
yeah,
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. I got the answer. And I have one more question regarding that. When we have so much, like when we accumulate so many things, for example, you also mentioned about the clothes. This is also, I'm also accumulating a lot of clothes and trying to keep it up. And there are some memories in that clothes. For example, yes, the clothes which we don't use or anything, it couldn't be only clothes, but it could be any material which we are not using for more than 2 years. Also, we just need to circulate or give it away to the people who are using. But there are some things which are really, really like not attachment, I would say, but it's a lot of memories are there in it. For example, my mom and dad has given me really a good like present as a dress, and I looked like a princess. And in that, like, so I just kept it for me all these years, like, you know. So, what do you say about this one? Do you want me to give away that or just keep it like that? I don't have any attachment. All my my other niece and kids, they start wearing it and they just do it, but I just treasure it like the gold. And what do you see? How do you tell me about this? Should I?
yeah. See, you have a choice in life, right? If you, it's like a half glass of water, a glass of water, you keep it for
Mhm.
years, don't use it, it becomes stagnant,
True.
right? Similarly, if you keep something and if you don't make use of it, you are wasting resources given by the nature, given by the divine to you, right? Your Our relatives like dad, mom, brother, sister, wife, they are also with us in with the reason, as a part of our what we learned as a karma, right? As a spiritual bonding, right? So let us respect that, and if we give it to the others, it may not be all the hundreds of clothes that you have, to this, to be very specific, that you are asking. It may be one or two, right? But not 80
Mm,
or 70 or 50 or 60, right? So if we give majority of the things what we don't use, it relaxes our mind and give a pleasure of happiness, which is very essence of the spiritual transformation that we are looking for, right?
wonderful, great. I got it. I got the answer. Thank you. Because as you said that it's a free will, then the memories which I hold it, I can just still keep it because I'm
Yeah,
still holding and I
yeah,
feel that I still have them. But if
yeah.
there are some other things out there, I can just circulate it, which is like a little least are important, and then and my mind is also clear about it. Oh, wonderful!
You
Thank
can
you
try
so
that.
much.
You can try that.
Yeah, yeah, I'll try that for sure,
You can,
definitely.
like we do annadana, for example, like the way do. And believe me, I don't like people giving the old clothes. Like, it is okay, give it if you have it, but giving somebody to the needy a new cloth, you will feel more. fresh, more enjoyable, more lasting peace, right? That's
True.
how we
That
should practice. That's what I feel.
yeah, yeah, that's true. That's one part.
And
And
same thing we do, ma'am, for the food also. Whatever we are not able to eat, we give it to cows or we give it to the servants or whatever. I think that's a bad practice, right?
yes, that's
If
true.
you ask me, right?
That's true. Yeah.
You give food, give less quantity, but you give the food which has a love to it. And it is like you are eating, and you give the same form to others. That will give
True.
you happiness. That's the essence of spirituality,
True.
right? The author also gives a concept called passing pleasure. Now, what is passing pleasure? Now, we are attracted to since we live in a society which is, fancy society, we are attracted towards short, pleasure. For example, alcohol, drugs, right? Show up, status, right? You go to a disco. You teach your kids, have you eaten Pizza Hut, McDonald's? These are the passing pleasure. This doesn't have permanent pleasure in it. Having too much attracted towards a temporary pleasure is called passing pleasure. We should be avoiding those things. That is what the author says, right? uh,
Mm,
and to bring in extreme transformation in our life. And 81 verses he has spent 1 year. For each and every verses he has contemplated it, he has meditated it, and then he has written the findings in the book. Like I
mm,
was telling the water example. So, he is advising, you meditate by keeping a thought of water, how soft, how flexible, and to harvest the benefit of water. That is what it
mm,
is. So all these things are
true.
very good, very short chapters, but it's really transformative. You cannot digest everything in 1 month, those 81 verses. It takes time, right?
True. Wonderful.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am,
Thank you.
Professor. Thank you very much, all of you.